Hi everyone and welcome to this video for D100 Dungeon, the Computer Companion. The Companion has been created by Steve Weinrich from Dungeon Software US and Aaron Boggs. I'm Martin Knight, the creator of D100 Dungeon, and I've been helping with the game, the rules and playtesting. Since its launch in 2020, the Companion has been updated and has some new features. In this video we're going to take a fresh look at the Companion and take a look at what it can do and how you can use it to play your games. The Companion is available via the Steam app for Windows, and there are currently 2 extra downloads available for the next 2 books in the series. Book 2, The Adventurer's Companion, and Book 3, The Dragon Armour. Book 4, The Lost Tome of Extra New Rules, is being worked on at this moment, and we hope to cover all books in the series in the near future. Steve and Aaron have designed the Computer Companion as an implementation of the main D100 Dungeon rulebook, and a companion that will mimic the paper version of the game. It handles the mechanics by generating roles, processing the paper sheets, performing combat and drawing the maps as you explore the dungeons, all while you play along with the books. At the end of each quest you will be able to save the details, including the map of the dungeon, to a PDF which you can print out to keep. Okay, what we do now is we'll take a look at the Computer Companion itself and go through the different features and options that are available to play your D100 Dungeon games. So when you load the Companion up for the first time, what you're going to need to do is create an adventurer, and we do that up here on the adventurer menu. Click there, click create, and then it will open this window. From here you can name your adventurer. I'm going to call mine Jute, and then you get a choice of hero path and race. We can use the drop down menu here. If you have any downloadable content shown, it will show any additional tables here. If you haven't, then it will be table H, so we're going to go ahead and select table H, and then you can either choose from the drop down here, or get the Companion to make a roll, or enter a manual roll yourself. You can roll some dice on the table yourself and then enter that result there by clicking in that box. I'm going to go ahead and let the Companion make this roll, so I've rolled a warrior, and then the same applies to race in exactly the same way. You select your table, select from the drop down, make the roll or enter a roll in randomly. I'm going to let the Companion roll, and I've got a warrior dwarf. And what the Companion's done is it started making adjustments to the final value of your primary characteristic based on what you set your characteristic to in the first place. So when you create a new adventurer, you get a choice of 50, 40 or 30 to be applied to a characteristic. And so what you can do, now that you've got your hero path and race selected, you can mess around with these and tweak them. I'm going to drop my strength to 40, make my dex 50 and leave intelligence at 30 as I'm a warrior. And then you get to choose where you would like to place your healing potions. So I'm going to put 1 in my backpack and leave 2 in my belt. And now we can choose the 2 bonus skills that you get. And I think because my intelligence is so low, I'm going to choose locks and lucky. And then the next roll, not locks and lucky, I'll go for locks and magic. And then the next roll is either manual or let the Companion roll, is for a weapon. I'm going to roll, and I've got a broadsword. I can either place it in my main or offhand. I'm going to put it in my main hand, and then we get to roll 3 times for armour. My first roll is a heater shield. Now my second roll is a buckler shield. Because there's already an item placed in my offhand, I can't equip it, so I can either roll again or replace. So I know that heater shield is better than my buckler shield, so I'm going to go ahead and roll again. Okay, I've got mail sleeves and a leather girdle, and that's pretty much as quickly as it will take to make your adventurer. If you've got any downloadable content, the book 2, The Adventurer's Companion, you've got the fast track option, and you can click on there and perform a fast track procedure. If you haven't, then it's a case of save or save and load. If you save and load, it will load your adventurer up ready for you to begin playing. Otherwise you can save and then go through the whole process again and create multiple characters if you would like. So that's pretty much how you would create your adventurer. Okay, so now you've created your adventurer, you'll come back into the Companion with a screen very similar to this. There'll be lots of panels open, and you'll have to pick them up and move them around to get them to fit into a style that you like and a play area that suits you. but we're going to how they're picked up and moved a bit later. First, let's take a look at the individual windows one at a time. Okay, let's take a look at this top left hand window first. This window has all these different tabs on that you can click on and cycle through, and what these are individual sheets, representations of the paper versions that you'll find at the back of the D100 Dungeon rulebook, so they'll look very, very familiar. And what the Computer Companion is going to do is, on all these sheets, it's going to handle all the mechanics and keep track of all the data and information. So if you gain rep or lose fate or gain life, the Computer Companion is going to do all that for you. It's going to add experience pips. You don't have to click on the spare pip slots there. The Companion is going to do it for you. If you've got equipment equipped, it's going to make the adjustments for you if they've got any adjustments to your strength, dex and int. And if you unlock and lock any of these abilities, then the Companion is going to be marking them and checking them. We've split the adventure sheet up into two halves. The reason for that is to get more information on a smaller section. The bottom half is on a separate tab, and it's got your belt slots and all your tracks and so forth there. It's also got the skills, and you can use the spell book by right clicking on spells as and when you want to cast them. And then you've got your time track there, but we've also got a status window open here at the moment which you can switch on and off, and this keeps track of some of the information for you as well. The top part of the backpack, the reverse side of the adventure sheet, is here, and we have the bottom part there where it's got all your finance and your quest log and so forth. The Companion's going to be updating all this information, and you can sell items by right clicking on them when you're in the before your next quest phase. Then we've got a separate quest tracker sheet. This is something you're probably not familiar with, and this is an addition that's been added to the Companion because there was a vast number of quests added to the D100 Dungeon system. We've needed to create a separate sheet to track all that, but it works in exactly the same way as the rules describe in the various books. And then the last one is a combat track, which will list all your combats that you've had, and if you've got more than one page, then it will show up here, and you'll be able to use the up and down buttons to cycle through those different pages. Okay, moving along the top of the screen, we move on to the Adventurer's Image window. This is a picture, a pre-generated picture of your adventurer based on their hero path and their race. They're pre-drawn, and there's one for each, and there's one for each gender as well, so you can switch between male and female. If you don't like the image that's supplied, or you've got your own, you can go ahead and change that, and you can go into the adventurer menu at the top here and click on gender image, and this will allow you to either add your own here using the adventurer image section there, or you can switch out and change to a female gender. So we'll go ahead and do that and look at the female version. Okay, I'll switch that back as my adventurer is male that I'm playing at the moment, and you can use this slider to scale your image how you would like your adventurer to appear in that window. Moving on to the top right window here is the map window. This shows you a map of your dungeon. It will only be displayed if you are currently on a quest. When you finish the quest, you won't get to see the map, but the Companion is going to be drawing this map as you explore the dungeons on your quests. You've got a little icon there that shows the position of where your adventure is, and you've got some footsteps there that change depending on which direction your adventurer is heading. The slider here will zoom in and out, and you can scale it to whatever suits you and whatever size window you've got. If you zoom right in, then these slider bars appear and allow you to move around. Okay, moving on to the bottom left window, the play window. I'm just going to adjust this, give us a bit more room to look at it. But basically the play window is going to be your log. It's going to log all the information about your quest and about your before your next quest phase. It details all the information like dice rolls, enemies encountered, what was discovered in geographic areas and so forth. and we'll look at that when we actually start playing a bit more of a quest, so you'll be able to see how that works and functions in a bit more detail. The next window is an encounter window that I've got set, and again it won't actually become active until we've actually come across a monster, and we'll look at that when that applies. And then lastly, I've got this status window open, which is a bit of a copy of various parts of the adventure sheet, and it just allows you to have this information up while you're playing a quest. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to look at how you customize your play area. So we've already been moving panels around and resizing panels and windows, but you can also pick them up and move them around and swap their positions. For instance, if we wanted to move this status window and we wanted to put it next to the play window, we can click up here in the title bar of the window, left click, pick it up, and then you get these various icons appear all over the screen. When you're in a position where you want to put it, this cross section here shows you whether you're going to put it at the top. The blue shadow is showing you that it will be placed at the top, and you're holding the mouse over the specific icon to tell it where you would like to place it. So you could go left at the top, to the right. I'm going to place it to the right, so you just release the mouse there, and then it will place that status window next to your play window, and then it's just a case of resizing it to make it look right. And if you want to put it back, just pick it up and tell it where you'd like to put it. So I'm going to put it back underneath this map window here, and then again it's just a case of resizing it. So that's how moving them around works. You can also make them a sheet of a window. So if you wanted to combine two windows together, you can pick up the same way, pick it up, move it over to where you want to combine it, and use the central button in the icon, the central icon in that cross, hold the mouse over it, drop it, and then it becomes a tab and part of the same window space. Okay, so if you want to put it back, you just select the tab that you want to pick up and move using the title bar, lift it with a left click, and then drop it back to where you wanted. You can put it at the top, the left, the right, or the bottom, and so forth. So that's how you can split windows up. You can also put them directly to the side of the screen, at the top of the screen, or at the bottom of the screen. So let's say we wanted to put our map at the very right of the screen. You can pick it up and you can move it to that icon there that's on the very side, and then it will create your map area there. So it's all fully customizable, and you're fully able to make all these adjustments and fine tune the play area how you see fit. Okay, next we'll look at some settings. So the Computer Companion has a number of settings that you can switch on and off, and you can check them out by going up here to the game menu and then clicking settings. So some of the options are things like autoplay, so we'll click on the arrow there to expand it, but basically the play window, the log, will be asking you when would you like to spend oil or spend food when they're triggered on the time track. And you can check those boxes to say that you'll automatically just spend the food and oil if it's available. And the same with the perfect aim, you normally roll 2 dice and choose the lower of the 2 options because it gives you a better damage modifier. When perfect aim ability is active, you can check it so that it will automatically just take the best roll of the damage that you've inflicted. The other options are things like auto roll, so instead of the log asking you to make these rolls, it will automatically go ahead and do those rolls for you. And there's various different ones for different circumstances, like the map, areas and doors and so forth. It's just going to automatically make those rolls for you when they're required. I won't go through all of them because there's so many. Then there's the confirmation settings, which will ask you before casting spells or scrolls or using an item. Then there's the campaign mode, which will pause the log to give you time to read the story from the campaign book. Then there's the logging settings, So all this information that's being stored here is in your log, and you can set different colours for the different text depending on the question colour. So every time it asks a question, I've got it set to be in blue, and when a monster rolls, it will show up in red. So there's different options there, and to change the colour you just simply click on the bar, choose a colour, click OK, and then it will display it in the sample there. Okay, and then there's the map section there. The automatic scroll setting means that when your adventurer is going to move off of the screen, it will automatically scroll to keep your adventurer in the area that's appeared on the screen. And then you can switch on to use legacy tiles, which will change the look of these tiles to the ones that are on table M mapping in the D100 Dungeon rulebook, so they look more familiar. Then we've got rolls, so we can set the focus to a manual roll. So if you like rolling your own dice, if you set that on, then the focus will always be in where you need to enter the number that you rolled on your dice, so you can just type that in straight into the keyboard without needing to check in the box first. So that's quite handy if you like making manual rolls. And you've got lots of rules for any content that you've got installed. There's lots of rules that you can switch on and off, so you can look through those and switch them on and off. And then there's the sound options. So the game plays sound effects like fighting noises and writing noises and moving noises. You can set the volume there, and also it plays ambient sounds. So I'm going to turn the ambient sounds down for now so I'm not drowned out. Turn it down to 2. And then lastly there's the text size there. So you can set the type of text and the size of the text that you want to see on screen. And that pretty much concludes the settings. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're actually going to start playing a bit of the game, and I'll demonstrate a bit of combat. I've got an escaped goblin archer there, and we're going to move into that area next and start fighting the goatman. First though, you need to do is to start playing the game, so I'm going to click up here and click play. And now we've entered the dungeon again, and it's telling me down here, turn 29. I'm currently on a quest to loot 3 weapons from monsters. I've got one of the 3 objectives met, so I need to discover another 2, and yeah, we're going to go ahead and attack that archer. But first I'm going to spend some food, and now the companion's going to ask me which direction on the map I want to move. So you can either use these buttons here, or you can tell it on the actual map itself. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to just move this over a bit, just adjust my screen slightly. I'm going to make this a bit bigger, hopefully you can see it a bit better. Okay, but before I do that I want to drink a potion, so I'm going to go to my backpack and I'm going to drink this potion here. So I'm going to right click on that and click use. Okay, so that's been used, and now my health points are 12, which is a bit better. Okay, so we're going to head west. So it's selected west, and I'm going to click OK. And now, because there was an escaped goatman archer there, I automatically have to enter combat with it. So the first thing we need to do is roll for a surprise test. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to do a random roll. I've rolled 63, so I've failed my surprise roll, and the monster's going to attack. Roll for the monster's attack. Okay, the monster rolled 100, so they missed. Okay, now we begin combat. So the log will expand the log a bit so we can see it a bit better. But basically I failed my surprise test, and now we're entering combat 1. Okay, let's go for that. So we're going to roll the monster's reaction, and they rolled a 7, so now I'm going to attack. I get to choose to attack or escape, so I'm going to choose to attack. and I'm going to cheat a little bit for the purpose of this video, but I'm going to put in a result of 20 to say that I actually scored an attack on the monster. Okay, so I've hit, so now it shows me that I can roll for damage to the monster. I don't want to kill it yet, so I'm just going to put down 1 for now, but normally you would either roll the dice yourself or tell the companion to roll. So I've rolled 1, so the damage has been adjusted by my equipment, which I have equipped a glaive, so I get +1 damage, and it's adjusted by the monster's defense of 2. So now I need to roll for the monster's location, and I've rolled a 7, so I hit the monster's offhand. Unfortunately it didn't do any damage. So we can see, because we've entered combat now, we've got a picture of a monster appeared, the Goblin Archer, and the top line here is the battle line that appears for the Goblin Archer, and the lower line is the current battle line for the monster. So as the monster starts getting damaged or things start changing to their battle line, it will appear here, and you can zoom in and out of your monster there. Okay, so now we need to roll for the monster's attack. Okay, so we've rolled, the monster's rolled 34, which is a hit. We're going to roll for damage to my adventurer, and we've rolled a 2. It's adjusted by +1 for the monster's damage roll, damage ability. Okay, it's hit me in the back, so I've sustained 4 points of damage, and I may deflect up to 2 to my finer studded leather cape. Let's just check. My studded leather cape hasn't got any damage at the moment, so yep, I'll deflect 2 to it. And you see the companion is dealing with all the mechanics of the game, and it's just shaded those 2 damage pips in for me, so nothing has to be entered manually. And now we're going to roll for combat round 2, the monster's reaction. So let's see what the monster does. So it rolls a 3, and it's going to attack as normal. So now I'm going to try and escape, as we've demonstrated a bit of how combat works. And I'm going to cheat on my escape roll, so I actually complete it. So I'm going to put 15 in. Okay, and what's happened is the play window switched back from combat back to the out of combat part of the game. So we're now working back on turn 30, the time track. It wants me to check for a poison, so I'm going to go ahead and do a random roll for that, and I rolled a 7. And so all the adjustments are made now. Do I want to spend any oil? So you click yes or no. I will spend the oil. The oil disappears there, and we hear the lantern being lit there. Now we need to choose a direction. So I think what we do is we'll go to the east, which it's set to. So if you wanted to go west, you would click there. If you want to go east, you click there, and you'll notice the ambient sound changed from when we was in the red room. So we're going back into the red room. Okay, and a lot of these areas have already been searched, but we'll move up into area here and search that. Okay, so we're going to head north, so I'm going to choose north on the button, turn 31, and now we're on turn 31. Do I want to search the area? So yes, I'll go ahead and search the area. And so what you do is you follow the log, filling in the details. I'm going to do a random roll for find, and we're going to look up result 60 on the find table, and it says moving away some rubble, a weapon is revealed. Roll on table W weapons. Okay, so we're now going to roll for a weapon, and we rolled 17, and we've acquired a dagger. It's a one-handed. We've got to roll for the damage to the item, and we're going to place it in our backpack. Okay, and now we need to roll. Oh, it's applied the the time modifier then. So now we have to roll for a wandering monster. Okay, so we rolled an 8 and now we begin turn 32. Okay, so what I've done is I've gone ahead and I've advanced the game a little bit, and I've moved to an area and searched all the areas. So the companion's now telling me that all reachable areas are completely explored and there's no means to add a new area. So I can use the mouse and add a secret passage. So I'm going to go ahead and click on one of these wall sections to tell it where I'd like to place a secret passage. So I'm going to put it there. Okay, so it says now I can choose a direction as to which way I want to travel. So we're going to head west, and I'm going to proceed into a new area. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in so we can see the map a bit better, and you can see the secret passage has been added there. And now I need to roll for a new mapping area, so I'm going to go ahead and click roll. Okay, and we've got a red area, so it's added that, and now it asks me to roll for an encounter, so I'm going to roll for that, and I've been surprised by some goblin archers. So I think that pretty much concludes the playthrough video, just to give you an idea of how it works. I won't go through another combat, and what we do is we'll move on and just have a quick look at the edit feature. Okay, so let's say I entered a manual roll for that room area there and I made a mistake. What you can do is you can use the edit feature. You need to click up here on the menu where it says edit and then click begin, and from there you can do various different things. You can select items, you can rename your adventurer, just highlight over the different areas, and then you can click on them and change different details. It's quite handy if you've made mistakes, or if you want to bring a new adventurer into the game. You can create an adventure on paper that you've maybe created a while ago and you want to add them to the game. Just load up a character and then do the edit feature. But let's say it was this one. We can click on there and there's certain things you can do. Let's say it was area 54 I should have added. You can change that and apply it that way, and then click done. And you might think, well, I made a mistake there, but I should have really added the area with the geographic feature. So we can go ahead and we can add a geographic feature to that area down here from table G. Let's say it was 19. Click OK, trapped chest, apply. So it's pretty versatile. There's lots of different options that you can do. We could add a room there, so you could build a dungeon for yourself to play in, and change the number of pips that an item's got. And so forth. And then when you finally finish doing all the editing that you wanted to do, you just need to go up to the edit menu again and just tell it that you're ending the edit mode, and then it's all logged down here. And the last thing that needs to be shown really is how you save your maps and so forth. So let's look at that. I'm going to need to quit my quest, but basically what you do is when a quest comes to an end, then it then asks us, are you sure you would like to quit the quest? Well, in this case, yes. And then it says, would you like to print your quest? This is your last chance. So the option to print is also to print a PDF. So the software, the computer companion, is going to actually make a detailed log of all of the adventure that's happened, and it's going to put it on a PDF format. So I'm going to click yes, and it brings up this window here of where to store it on your hard drive. So I'll go ahead and find somewhere to store it, and then we'll open up the PDF and just have a look at what that does. Okay, so you're given the option of what to call the PDF that you save. I've kept it as the recommended, which is Quest Dungeon Training 2, and this is what opens up when you open up the file. So first off, you get your adventure sheet with all the details of your adventurer and how the the adventurers ended up after the quest, and then the back of the adventure sheet. Then we get our quest tracker to show that I failed that quest. Then we've got the combat track showing the monsters that are on the current combat track, and we've got our log now. So this is the log of all that happened while the adventurer was playing that dungeon. So it shows you all the dice rolls, all the adjustments that were made, all the questions asked and so forth. And the quest log is as long as the dungeon took to take, really. So I think we was on about turn 29. Okay, no, we went beyond that. So I did a lot of editing at the end, which it shows up on the log as well. And then the last thing was how my gold was adjusted through failing that quest. And then the last thing is the dungeon map, which you can keep and mark a record of your adventurer's exploits. So that pretty much wraps up the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.